All right, welcome everybody here for another Cat's Corner with our esteemed panel. How you all doing?
Great.
Doing good.
Yeah, it's been an interesting week.
We haven't, I think we missed last week. Everyone just got busy.
Yeah.
So we gotta give us a real quick recap how the last few weeks have been, and then going into next week, which we'll get this posted hopefully Monday when
Okay.
people will be hearing this. So kind of what your projections for next week, and then we can kind of get into the hydrogen stuff. So
Sure. Pete, do you want to do prices?
Yeah, I think we should. I think there's two things as we're discussing, PGMs, platinum, palladium is our primary thrust, and of course, copper is our secondary, which is just as vital to our good guys over there at Recycle. That maybe we'll touch on that because that's been interesting too. But for the moment, we have seen a tremendous amount of pressure from 2,400 all the way down to 2,140 in palladium. It has been just vicious. The guys that aren't hedging with us have really suffered, some pretty big hits on inventory prices. And platinum, is starting to sniff 950.
yep,
Which is startling,
which it was over 1,000 for a while.
Yep, absolutely right. Yeah. So Nick, I had a pretty lengthy talk with Matt Watson from Precious Metals Commodity Management. They're consumers like you are, and he's a metallurgist, and we kind of went over it. And he said that, in his opinion, with the weakness he's seeing coming out of China, and you and I have discussed this on your show a couple times, and I continue to hold this posture. Things aren't as good or as rosy as China's attempting to project itself. And it looks to me like their net consumption, along with no chips, we're seeing a tremendous drawdown on the primary purchases of platinum and palladium both.
Gotcha. And there's no light at the end of the tunnel for the chips yet. We're not seeing
Well, I mean, we're pragmatically what it takes. It is not an easy thing to do. I mean, it is a very, very high-tech industry. We're talking about sanitary rooms, special type of welding, high-end flux. I mean, there's just a lot of things involved in it, and a lot of computer programming and robots that have to be built. So it isn't like, hey, you guys come on over to this factory B. We're going to switch over from, A to B. We've got to build robots and program them and, buy the stuff. So, it's a ways out. It's a ways out. And I think that for GM, everybody is going to suffer from it,
We have to remember there's also a Category 5 typhoon over there right now. So just like New Orleans was just slammed, they're getting
that's a good point.
Same storms, if not bigger.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you guys want to dive into the hydrogen, how that's going to affect the market, and exactly? I'm still kind of trying to wrap my head around it, to be honest with you, like the whole hydrogen thing.
I mean, think about it. I'll tell you what. Let's make this easy for everybody. Let's try to clear this up. All right, we're going to take, for example, Scott. We were talking about methanol being forced over a membrane. And what happens is you have a membrane that's impregnated with a metal, which is very similar to autocats, right? We have a platinum or palladium, depending on the engine fuel source, and it knocks down the NO2 that comes out of the tailpipe and carbon dioxide as well. And what happens is you force these end products, let's say methanol, over a membrane that's impregnated with platinum. And what happens is we split hydrogen and oxygen. And what happens is we get a non-polluting source, which is what that's the holy grail right now. Yeah. So what's happening is this is going to change the face of recycling, the way you and I have grown up in this industry in tremendous fashion. And the primary one is that we're going from anywhere from recovery of 1 to 3, grams of end product of NPGM to 50 grams that are on each membrane. So the recycling industry is going to have a renaissance because we're going to see a tremendous amount of product being able to be captured and recycled. And it's all going to depend on what the net price of platinum palladium is. And my projection for that, after having talked to Dr. Davis, who's the head of South African mining out there, and a number of other people, they're producing less and it's costing them more to make it. And now we're going to be going into a cycle where we're having higher demand for these products. I think our industry is really going to enjoy these brand new types of energy that we're going to be using.
So you're saying basically these cars that are using hydrogen energy, they're going to need 50 grams or so of PGMs in them versus whatever they are now. Like, what is it, like 3 to 5 or something like
5,
that?
let's say the spread. I like that. Yeah.
So 3 to 5 on a typical vehicle right now.
Well, your new service, which I think is fantastic, the shipping. Is that about your average? I think your numbers would be very strong.
On how per cat? Yeah, I think it's in that 3 to 5 range.
Okay, so there we go. That'll be our base number. Scott, what would you like to add?
Well, have been doing a little bit of reading, so yes, it's nice to. Oh yeah, I love when I read.
He went to college. Everybody, look out!
I put in my 2 hours. I put in my 2 hours every morning, 2 hours a night. So hydrogen's pretty fascinating. There's been lots of talk about how it's going to be generated, and 2, how it's going to be transmitted from generation site to use station.
Yeah, that's a big issue. Yeah.
The S&P just did a great article about the colors of hydrogen. Gray hydrogen.
Green, they went through that.
Yep. So gray hydrogen would be produced by the burning of natural gas, and then hydrogen is transmitted through natural gas pipelines. Brown hydrogen would be you burn coal to produce hydrogen and send that through natural gas pipelines. Blue hydrogen would be natural gas, and then burning natural gas, producing hydrogen, sending that through the pipeline, but then capturing the CO2 and storing that in underground reservoirs. And green hydrogen would be using clean green electricity, solar, wind, wave, to bring water in and to produce hydrogen out, still trying to capture some of the CO2 that's created in that process. So
but let's not confuse our viewers, because this gets really complicated when you talk about the variance of this gas. Not only that, the size of the molecules are larger and smaller, and you get seepage from different types and grades of pipe. So what we want to do is keep this as simple as we can and say, here we go. We've got multiple grades that we're going to be capturing, but the end thing to all of our people, Nick, is that we are going to be seeing a lot more capturing of platinum and palladium that is used on these membranes.
Yeah,
do that separation.
By far, I mean, if that thing becomes the norm, hydrogen powered vehicles, it's a huge game changer. And everyone's going to need the PGM. So you would think, which is simple traditional economics, is supply and demand. It's going to push the price up. It's going to push it up crazy. You didn't
even have to go to college for that push it up crazy phase either.
And let's not forget, you guys, the infrastructure for a hydrogen America is already built. We do not need to build anything extra to store, to transport, and to distribute, because we already have 2 million miles of natural gas pipeline under the surface. And that cubic volume of natural gas pipeline can carry 6% to 16% hydrogen fuel. So we're already cutting the natural gas with hydrogen at fuel generation stations, electricity generation stations.
The only caveat to that, Scott, would be that we might have to sleeve some of that with a higher density type of pipe. And that, of course, will be a plastic pipe because we don't want any seepage of that product. So that means we're going to be using more petroleum, which is an evil word. But once we get those sleeves poured and tapped, I think then at that point, you're 100% right. I mean, we aren't out there with hose and digging up the ground and doing all that's already been done. And those big, a lot of you guys know these gigantic white circular domes that hold your propane, your methane, things of that nature. Those can all hold hydrogen.
Okay.
So,
I
so the
was not
shift
aware of
over,
That's
yeah,
cool.
it's real cool. And
Mhm.
if we could, and here's another thing I want you guys to know. You and I have talked on your show about AV cars, and Scott and I have discussed this on a number of shows as well. You guys crush cars, you've been doing it a long time. You see anywhere from 15 to 30 pounds of copper coming out of a car, depending on the vehicle, right?
Mhm.
Electric vehicles have 110 pounds of copper.
That's right. I didn't. I knew there's a lot more in it.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other part of it,
It's a whole new animal for everybody. I
Yeah.
mean, we're talking about, and the other thing is too, now today we had a monster rally in copper. All of a sudden, everybody realized that it was way too cheap, and they went, I think we want to buy some of this stuff, and and everybody else is short around $4. They're now looking at we're looking at 450 or close to it, and going, oh, am I in trouble? So and you guys that we've talked on your show, we don't want to be sellers of copper unless it gets near $5, at which point it's an advantageous hedge if you have product on, but in the meantime you're going to have wild swings and try to sell on the basis of your profitability, not on the price.
That's how we do it.
I know that's how you guys do it, and you've been successful for years. And
that's how that's how we do it with the cats too, for the most part.
Sure,
it's a little bit more. Of a waiting game sometimes, but and I think it's good to hear. I mean, I think I'm confident in the market. We'll see. I think we're in store for a strong third quarter. And fourth quarter.
Well, it's fingers crossed. We need to get these chips made so that we can get new vehicles on the road, so people can start trading in the old ones and really give a shot in the arm to our industry.
Yeah, that's right there is gonna be nice. So
yeah,
happens. So
yeah, I mean that'll be a big push. I mean, I talked to someone who's on their third month of waiting for a vehicle they ordered. So that's not helping, and she has a car to trade in that she's waiting to get rid of. So I think you're 100% right. I think if the third quarter comes in strong and all of a sudden we're seeing chips getting released and we're seeing some upgrades in the existing market, that would be phenomenal.
Absolutely. All right. Anything else to add, gentlemen?
Scott, anything?
Get used to these 20-cent price swings. This is now normal.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I you know what? I concur on that. I do not see this is not like the old days, guys. I mean, this is now where you load your rig and copper's at 413, and when you get to offload, it's at 450 or 440, and it's like you had a great day. I mean, but it can go the other way too. So, I mean, you're going to have, like you're saying, you're going to have to take the good with the bad, or you're going to have to end up holding product, or you're going to have to hedge when you load the truck.
Yeah.
If you've got a 4, 5, 6 hour delivery time, you might want to just sell the load right when it's loaded,
Mm-hmm. All right, real quick, the New Year's, where is platinum, palladium, rhodium going to be?
Well, that's a good question.
You go first.
I mean, are you buying any new cars right now? Are you going down to the lot to pick up a new pickup truck? Because I'm sure not. I'm waiting for a little bit. And, really until we all decide that our old junky cars have to go and we want to go pick up a new sweet ride, we're going to see those prices low. Also, and winter's hard on cars. Winter's really hard.
So you think it's going to stay around where it is or lower than today?
We will reach a point where the used cars just can't stay on the road anymore, and people are going to have to buy new cars. Now, is that this upcoming spring? Yeah, probably.
Gotcha.
Well, you know what? I think we're gonna have to see if the infrastructure bill when it gets passed, if any of the money for the infrastructure actually gets to the infrastructure, they're already writing in little caveats that it can be used for this and that and the other thing. But
Mhm.
if we see it come in and get injected in, then guys that are driving older rigs that are going to be getting hired because of the injection of $1.3 trillion into the infrastructure for building bridges and whatnot, all of them are going to need new trucks. It isn't a matter of if, it's for sure. And we're just going to see a surge. And that, I mean, we could see palladium test 2,500 again, no problem before the end of
Yeah.
the year. And I think platinum at 11 or 1,200 without a problem. But it depends
Think
on
rhodium gets back to 19?
to who does.
Do you think rhodium gets back up to 19 in that area?
Oh yeah, I don't think there's a question on that too.
Okay.
And copper at test $5.
Yeah, there's a lot of metal in a Mack truck.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when Mack trucks start rolling off the lines and Peterbilt's order books are full,
Mhm.
Yep.
that's what you want to watch for.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, we'll keep
absolutely.
watching and we'll keep trying to do this at least once every other week, maybe once every week, but we'll keep rolling, keep out feeding everybody as much information as we can.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, everyone have a great weekend. We'll get this posted next week for all our viewers and
Perfect.
enjoy.
Everybody have a good weekend, and we're going to try to get you and help Nick and it's important that an educated end user, can protect himself and his company. So we're going to try to
Yep.
get as much information as we can.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Scott. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Nick.